No, I don't know what the US title means either. In the Japanese title, at least, Quinty is the name of one of the villains who abducts your girlfriend. Though it's still a strange choice for a title. Quinty is the first video game developed by Game Freak, a game developer who will go on to make some other things that people might be familiar with, like Pulseman. Quinty is an action game of a style that we haven't seen before, and I don't think we're going to see again. Every square on the screen can be pulled, and you do that by pressing either button on the controller. An enemy that's standing on a square that's pulled stumbles backwards, and if they hit something solid, like a wall, then they pop. Your goal is to clear the stage of all enemies. This is a task that starts out easy and quickly becomes more difficult. There's 100 levels in the first round of Quinty, and they have an entire second quest assuming you can beat the game. So there's 200 stages in total, and there is no save or password feature. The levels are divided into blocks of 10, and for your first quest, you can jump into any of the initial 8 blocks. On the second quest, you have to do them all in order. Each block has a different style of enemy, and they also have a few different powered-up versions. These guys can hop around and smash blocks. The artist might stop to draw on a panel, and if they finish it, you can't turn the panel anymore. These guys react to you by jumping into the air, meaning you have to catch them as they land. And these opponents mimic your movements, stopping when you do, and flipping the squares as you do as well. The swimmers hang around on the outside border and then dive through the stage, flipping the panels as they go. These spinning dancers will just bounce back and forth all over the place. Eventually they'll start breaking through solid blocks. And finally we have these heavy guys who don't move very far when you pull on them, and jump into the air to smash the square that they're on. Working in your favor are all the special panels that you can uncover while flipping squares. Well, sometimes they work in your favor, and sometimes you'll uncover an enemy generator. The stars give you 2 advantages. Collecting 100 of them will give you an extra life, and they'll also increase your speed. Your default movement speed is extremely slow, and trying to herd the enemies can be pretty tough at that slow pace. These panels send out a shockwave in the ordinal directions. Almost any enemy caught in that wave will be destroyed. There's also this variation where the shockwave only goes in one direction, and it changes every few seconds. The big brother to those panels is the sun. It sends out an enormous 8-way shockwave. The moon panel can be a little bit annoying. It turns the stage dark and makes any blank panels into stars. That's good, but if there's any solid blocks on that stage, you can't see them. Solid blocks are a thing that you can uncover, and if you flip a panel too much, it might turn into a metal panel which can't be turned. This symbol's a bumper and it will send you flying. If it knocks you into an enemy, you might knock them into a wall. You might also find hourglasses. These give you a little bit more time. When time runs out, the enemies speed up. This panel will rotate through some points, a star, or a 1-up. Finally, you might find this flashing panel that can take you to a bonus stage, and here your only goal is to collect stars. Any contact with the enemy is fatal in Quinty, but the continue system is extremely generous. You lose absolutely no progress, even if you switch around to try other areas first. Mendel Palace seems to be well regarded, but I have a lot of problems with it. First, the difficulty is extremely swingy. Stages might be trivially easy or painfully difficult, and some stages can even be both. Finding the correct panel at the right moment, and you effortlessly wipe out all of the enemies. Or you might release a whole bunch more of them to swarm you. Your lack of mobility is your biggest enemy in Quinty, and once enemies are close to you, it's really hard to shake them off. There also seems to be a bit of delay in your actions. You can't turn on a dime and flip a tile, and since there's no feedback on this, it just makes the game feel sluggish. And the bosses are all trivial. There's one at the end of every region, and none of them take much effort to defeat. Collecting what's on the panels can be a little bit finicky too. You have to walk exactly in the center of it. If you're trying to trigger something while being chased, that can be a bit of a pain. And a lot of the strategy consists of just pulling a tile on an enemy over and over again as they slowly creep toward the wall. Something to keep in mind as a stage is starting, it is possible to shove spawning enemies back. Despite all that, I get why people like Quinty. It's really satisfying when you hit the right spot and send everybody flying at once. It's not bad for a first-time outing for a game developer, even if it doesn't live up to their well-known classic, Drill Dozer.